Hey everybody, this yoga is designed for low back pain to give you some relief maybe and some release from that nagging low back pain that we can all get. I'm going to do 3 poses today. One will kind of loosen up our spine, one will strengthen our lower back, and then the third one will hopefully help us release those low back muscles to get a little bit more comfort. So I have 3 blocks here. You probably don't need 3, but if you have some blocks you'll want them. And then I have one of these Mexican style blankets. You can use a beach towel if you'd rather, or a thin blanket works best for that. So we are going to start with our cat-cow just to loosen our spine up. It's important that we really spread our pinky and our thumb out, getting a nice solid base with our hands, feeling the mat underneath the palm of our hands. Also make sure that your knees are right under your hips. You don't want to be too far forward or too far back or have your knees up. And we're just going to start with our tailbone. Remember too that we're tucking our belly button in. We're going to just start with our tailbone and we're going to bring it all the way down towards our mat. And then we're going to press it up towards the ceiling. And we're just going to slowly make our way up our spine, so moving up into our low back. And each time, just bring a little bit more of your spine into it. Making our way up into our mid-back. And then release, pressing down towards the floor. Good. Moving up into our shoulders now. I always say this is when we turn our spine into a slinky. So if it feels like an ironing board, imagine you're trying to turn it into a slinky. And now finally we're going to bring our neck into it by bringing the crown of our head all the way down, tailbone all the way down. Create as big of a dome as you can. And then let's press our belly to the floor, bringing our tailbone up, the crown of our head up high. Nice big arch there. And then we're going to dome again. So again, going back to the slinky analogy, just imagine each vertebrae moving individually. Try to create space between them and then contract all of that space out. This also gets synovial fluid going in our joints. Helps with movement. Can add some breath here if you want to. Inhale as you draw up. And exhale as you bring that belly down, bringing that tailbone and the top of your head up. Good. Do that as long as it's comfortable. That's a great one for spine work. The next one we're going to do is bird dog. This is going to build a little stability in our lower back muscles. So bringing that left leg straight back, try to drop this left hip just slightly to keep your hips parallel to the mat. If this is too much, go ahead and bring those toes down and just hold it right here. If you're able to, we're going to bring that right hand forward, reaching through those fingertips. So I'm still drawing my belly button in. I still have a nice firm base connection between my palm and the mat, and I'm lengthening as much as I can from the heel of my left foot through my fingertips of my right hand. Keep breathing. Good. And back to center. We'll go to the other side. Same thing. Bring that right leg back. Drop that right hip slightly. If you need to bring toes down, bring toes down. Left hand comes forward, lengthening. Create as much space as you can, as much length as you can between your fingertips and the heel of your right foot. Drop that right hip slightly if you feel like you're opening up. What you don't want is this. You want hips neutral. My eye gaze is slightly in front of my fingertips. Good. You can repeat that on each side as much as is comfortable for you, or as much as you feel you need. The more you do, the better, because that's building strength in that low back and that core area. Finally, we're going to come into a child's pose. You can keep your knees out, especially if you have tight hips, sorry. I have wide hips. You might have tight hips. Or you can keep your knees together. We're going to bring our glutes back to our calves. Now for some of you, this might be too much right now. This is where you can use the blanket, and tucking the blanket right in behind your knees. You can create a little support there to come down into your child's pose. You want support so that your low back feels like it can release in this pose. If you need more than that, feel free to use your blocks. You can use two, one under each glute, bringing glute to heel. And again, it's to provide support for your hips and for your low back so that they feel safe going into this pose. And then while you're in child's pose, you just want to release that tailbone towards the mat, lengthening through that low back. So right now I'm actually pressing away from the front of the mat through my hands to try to get my glutes closer to my heels. And on my exhale, I'm releasing that tailbone closer to the floor, allowing those low back muscles to stretch and lengthen. So what I'm talking about right now is from right here down and around my glutes. You're wanting that to stretch and lengthen. So if you're up like this and your tailbone is up, they're probably just staying contracted. So you want to try to bring them down, bring that tailbone down, and let those muscles curve down towards the mat, releasing. And again, you can stay in child's pose as long as you like. All three of those you can stay in as long as you like, as many times as you like.